Now let's begin with the next part, that is the heavy water or D2O. D2O is also known as deuterium oxide. Okay, and this heavy water is present in ordinary water. Ordinary water contains small proportion. Now about 1 part in 5,000 parts of D2O. Now how to prepare heavy water? It is prepared by prolonged electrolysis of water. So when water is electrolyzed for a longer period, what will happen? Hydrogen is liberated much faster than D2 and the remaining water will become rich in D2O. So this process is continued and we'll get D2O, pure D2O. And it should be remembered that if we electrolyze 29,000 liters of normal water, we'll get 1 liter of D2O. And that is only 99% pure. So water is electrolyzed for a very, very long period of time. And finally, we'll get our heavy water, that is D2O. Now, what are the properties? It is also a colorless, tasteless, odorless liquid. The physical properties are slightly higher than ordinary water. Okay, because the reason is the molecular mass of heavy water is more than ordinary water. Okay, and it is not having that much solubility power as compared to normal water, so it is not a very good solvent. Okay, its reactions are slightly slower than normal water. That's why it does not support life. It is injurious to living organisms because what will happen if it reaches our body? So it will slow down the rates of metabolic activities. Now, what are the uses of heavy water where it is used? It is used as a moderator in nuclear reactors. Now, what are nuclear reactors? Which produce nuclear energy. Okay, electricity is produced. So it is used as a moderator in nuclear reactors to slow down fast moving neutrons. Also, it is used as a tracer to study the reaction mechanism. Okay. Now comes the next topic, that is hard and soft water. Okay, we have learned this word many times, that this is hard water, this is soft water. Now, what is hard water? Hard water contains calcium and magnesium salts in the form of chlorides, bicarbonates, and sulfates, and it does not give lather with soap. But what is soft water? Which is free from these salts and it easily gives lather with soap. Now, what are the examples of soft water? Rainwater is the soft water, distilled water is the soft water. Otherwise, remaining all the forms of water are hard water. Okay, that is river water, hand pump water, sea water, they all are hard water. Okay, now hard water forms scum or precipitate with soap. So, suppose this is soap. Now, when hard water is added, so what will happen? This whatever calcium, suppose the hard water is containing calcium, so whatever calcium is there in the hard water, that will combine with soap and it will form a scum or PPT that will deposit at the bottom of the container. And because of this scum formation, it is unsuitable for laundry purpose. Okay, because the salt will deposit. That's why the hard water does not give lather with soap, because whatever soap is there, that soap is precipitated at the bottom of the container. So lather is not formed. Okay. So now we'll discuss about the hardness. What are the types of hardness and what are the methods by which we can remove the hardness of water. Now, the hardness is of two types, temporary hardness and permanent hardness. Temporary hardness is due to bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. That is, calcium bicarbonate is present or magnesium bicarbonate is present. And the permanent hardness is due to the chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium. Now, how to remove temporary hardness? It's very simple. Simply, if we boil the water containing calcium or magnesium bicarbonate, now this can be magnesium also. Okay. So, when the water is boiled, what will happen? Whatever calcium or magnesium salt is there, that will deposit it at the bottom. So, this CaCO3 will be precipitated. Okay, so a white deposition you can see at the bottom of the container. Now the upper water is free from the calcium and magnesium salt, so you can decant that water and that water is now your soft water. So simply if we boil the hard water, we can remove calcium and magnesium salt. The second method is Clark's method. Now in Clark's method, what we do, a calculated amount of lime water. Now what is lime water? It is calcium hydroxide, it is added. So what will happen? This calcium hydroxide will combine with the calcium and magnesium salts, and it will precipitate the calcium and magnesium salt at the bottom. Okay. So there are two ways. These are very simple ways by which we can remove the temporary hardness of water. Okay. So this is magnesium bicarbonate. I can also write here calcium bicarbonate. Okay. It means precipitate is formed. Okay. Down arrow means precipitate. Up arrow means gas. So these are the two ways of removing the temporary hardness. Now for removing the permanent hardness, we have to use special methods because they are not removed very easily. Chlorides and sulfates, they are not removed by simply boiling or by adding lime. Okay, we have to use special methods for treating permanent hardness of water. Now, what are the methods for removing the permanent hardness? So the first method is a simple method. Now in this method, we'll use washing soda. Now washing soda is sodium carbonate. So this is hard water. Now M stands for calcium or magnesium. So this is the hard water. Okay, so this is the hard water containing calcium, chlorides and sulfates. The hard water which is containing calcium chloride or calcium sulfate. Now sodium carbonate is added. So the exchange will occur. The Cl will go to sodium and CO3 will come here, and whatever carbonate is there, that is precipitated at the bottom. So simply if we add the washing soda to the hard water containing chlorides and sulfate, slowly and slowly what will happen, it will exchange. Okay, it will exchange the ions, and whatever hard calcium or magnesium ions are there, they will settle at the bottom. The second method is the most modern method, and this method is known as Kalgan's method. So in this method, we use a mineral which is known as calgon, and we add that mineral to hard water. Now what is calgon? It is sodium hexametaphosphate. Now this is the formula for calgon. So this calgon is added to hard water. So what will happen? Suppose the hard water is having calcium ion or magnesium ion. So this calcium ion will go into the this complex. Now this is a complex compound, and sodium ions come out. So basically this is also the exchange reaction which is taking place. Okay. So the calgon will combine with calcium and magnesium ions to form a complex which is soluble and does not form any scum. Okay. This water can easily form. So this is the soluble complex. Okay. So scum is not formed if the water contains calgon in it. The next method is ion exchange method. It is also a modern method for softening of hard water. Now in this method, the ions which are responsible for hardness of water. So which are the ions which are responsible? Calcium and magnesium ions. They are exchanged by the other ions which are present in some chemical compound. And that chemical compound is known as ion exchanger. So in this method, we'll use an inorganic ion exchanger. So what that inorganic ion exchanger will do, that exchanger will take calcium and magnesium from the hard water and in turn will return its ion. And such inorganic ion exchangers are zeolites. Now zeolites are sodium aluminium silicates. Now this is the formula for zeolite, Na2Al2Si2O8.XH2O, and zeolites are naturally occurring and they can be artificially synthesized also, and zeolites are also known as permutite. And here we can simplify it by writing Na2Z. Okay, Z is the anionic part. So this zeolite, it is added to hard water. Now this is the calcium ion. So what it will do, it will take calcium ions and in turn it will give sodium ions. So slowly and slowly whatever calcium is present in the hard water, that is taken up by the zeolite or this ion exchanger, and in return it gives sodium ions. And that we can remove from the hard water. So this is known as ion exchange method. Now comes the most advanced method of removing permanent hardness, and that is known as synthetic resin method. And this method is the most efficient method because this method will remove the cations also and anions also. Suppose the hard water is containing calcium chloride. So it will remove the chloride ions also and it will remove the calcium ions also. Now what are resins? Resins are the giant hydrocarbons which contain reactive acidic or basic groups. They remove cations as well as the anions which are present in the hard water, and the resulting water is known as demineralized or deionized water. Okay, so what we do, we take two tanks, and these two tanks are filled with the anion exchange resin and cation exchange resin. So what this anion exchange resin will do, it will remove the negative ions, and cation exchange resins will remove the calcium and magnesium ions, and the resultant water will be free from all the hard anions and hard cations. So what are anion exchange resins? These are giant hydrocarbon framework which is attached to the basic group like OH. So anion exchange resins contain OH groups along with the long carbon chain, and the cation exchange resins contain H plus ions. So what we do, first the hard water is passed through cation exchange bed. So what will happen? Now this is the cation exchange resin. Now this is hard water. So whatever cation is there, that will combine with this R part, and H plus are removed. Okay. So what this cation exchange is doing, it is taking up the calcium ions or magnesium ions, and in returning it is giving H plus ions. And the anion exchange bed, what it is doing now, it is taking up the negative ions, chlorides and sulfates, and in return it is giving the OH minus. So ultimately what you will find, that after the water is passed from cation exchange resin and anion exchange resin, it is containing only H plus and OH minus ions. Remaining all the anions and all the cations are taken up by the resin molecules. So these H plus and OH minus will combine, and the water is finally demineralized water. Now it is hydrogen economy. Now, what is the meaning of hydrogen economy? With the growth of modern civilization, the need of energy has been continuously increasing at a very fast rate. The natural reserves of energy like coal and petrol are finite, and continuously we are using these. So, continuous use of these resources may exhaust them completely. Okay, so the search for alternative sources has given a solution as hydrogen economy. So, what is hydrogen economy? Here the energy is transported and stored in the form of liquid or gas hydrogen. Now hydrogen is considered as a source of clean energy. Okay, and one important thing is there, that hydrogen can be used as a fuel because it releases greater energy as compared to other conventional sources of energy. Okay, but the only problem is that uh, is in the production of cheap hydrogen. And the second problem is in the storage of hydrogen, because hydrogen is highly combustible gas and it is difficult to handle safely, and it burns with explosion. So how to store and transport hydrogen, this is the main problem. And if some solutions are there, then hydrogen in the near future we are going to use hydrogen in our cylinders in as a substitute for petrol and all. Okay, so this is hydrogen economy.